Thank you for the opportunity to discuss this very important issue with your viewers. For me, if you think about the numbers, think about from January 1st till April 30th, the Canada Anti-Fraud Centre says we have 18,803 reports of fraud, 6,671 victims, and 22.6 million in losses. If we look at this holistically, we have to understand a couple of very important things. Number one, frauds are going to continue as long as they make money. So if you really want to put an end to it, let's stop sending the money. So you may not be personally sending, perhaps somebody you know, perhaps your neighbor, perhaps a loved one, perhaps someone in your family is participating in getting scammed. And an issue with this, of course, is people are reluctant to say, hey, I've been scammed. It's a very embarrassing thing. It's something that we don't want to share. At the end of the day, if we don't know what's happening, we can't help. So in order to move forward, what we need to do as a community is not send the money. Now, specifically speaking to this period of pandemic that we're in, the Anti-Fraud Center actually has some interesting stats on that as well. From March 6th until May 1st, 766 reports relating to COVID-19 scams, 188 victims, $1.2 million gone. And that's another piece of it right there. Once the money is gone, it's gone. It could be overseas. It could be any number of places. Very, very difficult to hold these con artists accountable. Not impossible, but very difficult. And getting the money back is very, very difficult. So it's very, very important up front that we do not send any money ever to these people. You talk about the different mediums. So what that refers to is how the scam is perpetuated. So it could be a phone call, it could be letter mail, it could be email, it could be online chat rooms, it could be faxes, it could actually be in person, although rare, especially in our current environment with the Emergency Act, but in-person scams still exist too. However, of those mediums, the most popular or most common medium for frauds to start is over the internet. So obviously the safety messaging, when you talk about the internet fraud, any pop-up messages that happen, for example, you're browsing the internet and perhaps you get a little window that says, hey, you just won an iPhone, or hey, you just won a cruise. There's an age-old adage that says if it seems too good to be true, it likely is. Please don't be fooled by these things. Pay attention to websites. In today's world, the con artist can be very tech savvy. So for anyone that's familiar with the internet, you know that really part of the attraction, part of the appeal for an online user is the fact that there's really no limit. Basically, if you can dream it or think it, you can make it happen, make it real for yourself, because the internet is very powerful. So along those lines, there's really no limit to the cons and scams that can be developed by these tech-savvy scammers. So you think about well-known company, perhaps a branch of government like the Canada Revenue Agency, perhaps an established bank like TD Bank or Royal Bank. Obviously, these branches of government, these big banks, they're real. They're legitimate businesses or government groups that are out there doing business daily. And at times we'll see cons and scams started in the name of a real company. And the unfortunate reality is it's very, very easy to create logos. So everybody knows the logo of the Government of Canada. Everybody knows the logo of, for example, Royal Bank. But even a more limited user like myself, it's very easy for me to figure out how to print a logo from the internet. So don't be fooled. Don't allow yourself to be fooled just because a letter arrives with this letterhead on there. And believe me, we have to respect the Canada Revenue Agency and, of course, all these other businesses, but we need to verify. In today's world, if we're going to be getting letters or we're going to get phone calls that we didn't arrange, what that means is unsolicited means that it's a contact that we didn't initiate. So a letter or a phone call out of the blue, by very practiced individuals who spend a lot of time planning and preparing these scams. They'll sound very, very practiced on the phone, or they'll message you very convincingly online, because that's what they do all day, every day. They practice. So in order for us to defend ourselves against these practiced individuals, what we need to do is verify. Now, on that note, we're not going to be using any contact information that we receive on this letter. A letter from a con artist will have backups embedded in it. So there'll be contacts, there'll be phone numbers, there'll be websites, email addresses built in that another, or perhaps the con artist himself, can verify from. So what we'll do as an individual that wants to beat fraud is we'll look up a real contact, we'll look up the phone number, we'll look up some real address information, we'll arm ourselves in order to see through what really is a lie. Cons and scams are built on lies. So if you've ever raised a teenager and had them give you excuses why they're late for curfew, same process when you're dealing with a con artist. It's built on a lie, therefore, when you ask questions, it very quickly unravels. So if you want to think about the best way to beat these people at their own game, is very simply don't pay, don't trust. So everybody needs to understand that we're smart, but every human being has two essential parts. We have our emotional quotient, our intelligence quotient. And if we use our intelligence quotient, our brain, then we will win against these con artists and these scammers. But another tactic we're seeing is they're attacking our emotional quotient, or they're going after our hearts. So we hear about the romance scam, where they target lonely people, pretend to be romantically interested. We see the puppy scams. Everybody loves puppies. So they'll put up a picture of a puppy for adoption, or some dire straits needs money right away for operations, and it's not real. This actually hurts the legitimate pet rescues that are out there. I happen to have the pleasure of knowing some very hardworking pet rescue people, and they don't exactly operate with a whole huge bank account to work from. So the con artist that operates these puppy or whatever animal scams are running actually hurts legitimate businesses that really need your help. So at the end of the day, we take ourselves back to verify, do our homework. Is the group that I'm supporting an actual group? Is the bill I'm receiving an actual bill from a real agency, or is it just a very clever scam? Too often these cons and scams are targeted against our seniors, our elderly, and right there I'd like to ask your viewers to change the terminology a little bit. I ask you to use the word experienced. When you hear elderly, when you hear senior, instantly the image pops into your mind of vulnerable, easy target, easy mark, and that's how they're perceived by these con artists. Experience suggests exactly what it is. Our more aged population, our seniors, are very experienced. They have more experience on this planet than any of these con artists. And having them take the approach that they need to verify these contacts, it's a very simple process. And I don't mean to oversimplify it, but really what I'm looking for is to share the information. If you have a neighbor or a friend or a family member who would be in what we consider a senior population, share this information with them. Perhaps they don't see all the news every day. Perhaps they might miss this messaging. So you, as a person who has had enough of these cons and scams, take the information to heart, use it yourself, and share it with your perhaps neighbor, with your family member. Let them know that this is happening every day. Let them know it's making a pile of money. Let them know that it will not stop until they stop making money. And if they ever ask you, why do these people that run cons and scams not get a real job? The unfortunate response is it's a huge pay cut for them, because they make so much money lying to people and taking their money. So we're looking in a few days at what we call our official kickoff to summer, or Victoria Day weekend. The most important piece I would ask your viewers to consider is please respect the emergency order. Premier Ford has extended the order to June 2nd. So please acquaint yourself with all the measures that are in place. Please willingly follow those measures, because at the end of the day, it's getting old. We're starting to feel a little cooped up. but it's really, really important for those of us in the vulnerable population that we're not exposed to this stuff. And it's very likely for us to feel healthy, and we may perhaps be a carrier. Let's not put anybody at risk. If you're going to be perhaps if you're going to choose to be out in the water, we would ask you to please do your due diligence. Is your vessel seaworthy? If it's sat all off season all winter, check your belts, your hoses, fill it full of gas, make sure it works. Make sure that you have the appropriate safety equipment on board for the size of vessel. And those of you that are well acquainted with being on the water will understand what I mean. Check Transport Canada online, check opp.ca, check the Canada Safe Boating Council, find out what your size of vessel requires. The time to find out you don't have that safety gear is not when you need it for a dire emergency out in the water. Please ensure you're kitted out before you leave the dock. Check your marine forecast, particularly on larger bodies of water like Lake Huron that the town of Kincardine is on. Conditions can change very quickly. If the marine forecast features a fog warning or a high wind warning or a small craft warning, please reschedule your sailing. Don't put yourself out there when you're going to be in harm's way. It complicates your excursion. It complicates emergency services trying to get to you. It puts a lot of people at risk unnecessarily. Be prepared, smart preparation, have a good vessel that works well, have a competent operator, get your tank full of fuel, check your weather. And if you're going to be out there, have a safe and enjoyable weekend. On the roads, everybody's aware this is Canada Road Safety Week. The OPP is utilizing all available personnel, all hands on deck for highway safety. We are hoping that the traffic still stays low as your viewers respect the emergency order set forth by the province of Ontario. At the end of the day, people will choose to travel. We know that. If you're going to be out there, the rules apply. Everybody knows the rules. Don't speed, don't drive impaired, put the cell phone down, have your seatbelt on, position yourself for success and any other road user you may encounter for success. If you're engaging in risky driving behaviors, if you're putting the chance of you arriving safely at question, you're doing it to somebody else as well, and that's not fair. Let's have a safe, enjoyable weekend. For the residents of the South Bruce OPP attachment area, we want to thank you for trying hard to comply with the provincial regulations. We know it's getting difficult, we know it's getting long, but it's absolutely essential for your health and that of others. Please be patient. Please respect the orders. If you're going to be venturing out, you know the works. Social distancing, groups less than 5, all that good stuff. And we really appreciate the effort you put into following the rules. Please continue that as we head into the official kickoff for summer, the May long weekend. Please be safe. And whatever it is you're choosing to do this weekend, please be safe. Respect the social distancing. Be safe on the roads. Be safe on the water. Enjoy yourself, and we'll see you soon.